Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, I'd like to say that next week's video is going to be a Q&A. So if you've ever wanted to ask me a question, please put it in the comments below and I promise to get to as many of them as I can. And please don't hold back on what it is that you want to ask. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I don't hold anything back, and so you shouldn't either. This Sunday here in the United States is Father's Day. And as much as I would love to create a video called I Hate Father's Day, at least I've learned from I Hate Mother's Day that perhaps I wouldn't want to have 1,000 hate messages in my comments like I did last time. So I'm not gonna do that. Although gosh, 20,000 views, that sure was nice. So for Father's Day, instead of talking about myself, I thought I would talk about my dad and what he meant to me in my life. The first thing you should know about my dad was that he was literally the best person I've ever known. He was kind and he was gentle, and he taught us to treat everybody equally and with love. Sometimes when I see myself on video, I actually see him, his sense of humor, that charm you guys think I have, and that little glint in my eye. That's totally him. And yeah, I do often wonder what he would have said about my channel. I mean, he wasn't always the most progressive guy. He also wasn't the most technologically savvy guy. But I like to think that he would have seen the messages that you guys send me that I am so touched by. And that he would have seen that maybe I'm doing some good in the world, and that he would have been proud of me because of that. He was such a funny guy and so positive, and I try to portray those things too. Although in countless ways I fall short of him. This is a man that I never heard curse once. At least nothing worse than gosh darn it. And I curse all the fucking time. And as far as I can remember, he never even lied. He just had incredible integrity. I remember when I was young, we once went to a Toys R Us, and after we left, he realized that the cashier had given him $1.35 too much in change. I mean, $1.35, nothing. And we were like way out in the parking lot, and it wasn't a short walk. He made us turn around, walk all the way back into that store, and give that $1.35 back to that cashier. He grew up in New York City in the 1940s and 50s and 60s, where being Puerto Rican wasn't the coolest thing. Both his parents were immigrants from the island, and when he went to them after high school and asked, you know, hey, should I go to college? They just told him, no, that's for rich kids. So what he wanted for me and what he wanted for all his kids was to get an education. And he was so proud when I became the first member of my family to go to college, although I wasn't the last. And you know, he also gave me some of the greatest advice, and this is gonna sound a little silly, maybe inconsequential. He used to say, you know, when you go through a green light, remember that there's people behind you too. And you know, I don't know how many times I've gotten frustrated because somebody's like lollygagging through a green light as if there's nobody else in the world around them. But you know, that can be applied to so many things in life, and it's all about being considerate, that our needs aren't the only needs in the entire world. And I think just the fact that I remember these things decades later, you know, a little moment in a car, a little moment in the parking lot of a Toys R Us, just goes to show how these little tiny things can have huge impacts in people's lives. Another thing you should know about my dad was that he was actually really short. And one of the things he loved to do more than anything, actually the thing he loved to do more than anything in the world, was play basketball. And it's something he taught me because it's something he really wanted to do with me. So you can imagine us walking onto a court, you know, him all 5'3" and me 5'5". We weren't exactly the prime pick for people's teams. But you know, time and time again, we beat teams with players that are much taller than us and even that had skills that were better than us. We would never win by just driving to the hoop or slam dunking the ball, because let's face it, we were never going to be able to do that. We understood that if we were going to win, we had to involve the entire team. And it was the best thing to see the looks on these guys' faces when they'd walk off the court, wondering how they lost to us. I think one of the saddest things in my life is when I realized one day that my father could no longer help me. And I mean in a lot of different ways. He couldn't help me with my homework. He couldn't help me with the experiences I was having in college. And of course, fundamentally, he couldn't help me with the biggest issue I was suffering in my entire life. All he knew was that I was unhappy even though I shouldn't be. And I never could tell him why. I never told my father that really I was his daughter. And because of that, we missed out on so many things. Sometimes I watch TV and I cry at the dumbest father-daughter kind of things because those are things I never got a chance to do with him. I love him and I miss him so much. I remember when he died, the moment I got that call, the very first thought I had was, now he knows what was bothering me all those years. I also remember the last words I said to him, which were, Dad, I gotta go. He had been sick for quite a long time with Parkinson's and heart disease leading up to that point, all of which were attributable to his service in Vietnam. But even as inevitable as his passing was, I didn't think it was gonna be in that moment. And I wish I could have chosen other words to say to him. But we don't always get to choose the last things we say to people that we love. I wish I'd been able to tell him just one more time that I love him. But I wasn't. So, Dad, I love you wherever you are. And my love to all you fathers out there, and all of you playing the role of father in your kids' lives. Happy Father's Day, and see you around the interwebs.
This recording took place on the 9th of September of 1980. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow.